Welcome to the City Stage and Friends podcast. I'm not your host. This is
Keep
your
going.
host, Victor Johansson.
You're doing such an amazing job. Today we have Frank Slowinski. Frank,
Stage name Frank Slow.
Frank Slow.
Frank Slow of Frank Slow Films.
We
baby.
were just talking about how you're involved in so many different things.
Yes.
You've been a creative in Rockford for how long?
Man, over 10 years, over a decade now.
Over 10 years?
Yeah, professionally, I guess you could say, once I started getting paid for being creative.
As soon as someone gives you $1 for something, you're a
That's
professional.
right.
Yeah.
You got my $15 right here. So, go ahead. I'm curious to hear my own intro. Like, hearing my own name is weird to me. I hate hearing my last name.
The way I would introduce you is someone who, when I first met you, which wasn't that long ago,
Yep.
I thought that you were someone who
Still
just
a few years ago. Though,
was.
right? A couple few years ago.
What's that?
Still a few years ago. This isn't like you met yesterday, though.
No, like a couple years ago. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought that you were someone who just didn't really care what other people thought about you. And that was a very attractive thing. Like, I remember there was one point you were walking around because you had an office here at City Stage for a little bit. And I remember you just walking around with no shirt on.
I don't remember that. That's
And I was
awesome.
like, who is this guy? I love him.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. No,
Frank
but
is
then,
a warm-blooded individual.
Warm-blooded.
Yeah,
I
body
run.
temperature
Yeah, I
runs-
turn the temperature to like 60 in here, and everyone's like, "We're gonna be
yeah,
freezing."
I'm going to be cold within probably 10 minutes.
So I was topless, as most stories of Frank go.
But it was just this, like you were putting off this just obviously very friendly guy. You have a good energy about you, and you didn't seem to really be bothered by, some of the menial things of personal interactions, I think.
Yeah.
But then also you're a huge ideas guy. You're full of them. Always.
300 pounds worth of ideas right there. Like the price per pound with ideas with
Frank
me
is
is
the ideas
off
man,
the charts.
for sure.
But the thing that we were just talking about before we started rolling was that you do a lot of different things, right? So you do music, you do video production, you do regular art, you
I was an
draw as
artist.
well.
I was on track to be a cartoonist. I got swindled out of some money. How does that work when you don't get paid for work? I don't know what you would call that. Like I did some artwork for an arcade
I thought you
company.
weren't going to bring this up about me, but
Yeah.
now you have.
The people need to know. They need to know. Anyways, my mother thought I was maybe she still thinks, I don't know. She always thought I was a child prodigy, and I took a lot of identity in that. Like I would walk into rooms and be like, I'm the most talented here.
Yeah.
And in a way, I still kind of feel that, though I feel like this point beyond that where I'm kind of depressed. Like I'm talented, but like I'm kind of broke. At least it feels that way. No matter how much money you get in life, you always feel broke to a certain degree, especially when you compare yourself to each other, other people that are,
right.
Have twice as much as you or whatever. But anyway, I do lots of things, and I don't really care about the formalities of societal norms because there's not enough time to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Like, why waste time on, did I make a proper introduction? Which that component of society is important.
Yeah.
But it's not too important where you need to lose sleep over, making a fool of yourself. And I actually, have a mantra of putting your worst foot forward. And I got to keep this PG for
Put
Cheshire.
your worst foot forward.
Put your worst foot forward, and whoever doesn't resonate with you, they can go, what's a proper way?
So, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be like,
regardless of
this. I'm having trouble keeping it PG, but expose yourself to the world.
Yeah.
Or walk with your thing hanging out, and whoever doesn't like your thing, whatever that thing is, shame on you for thinking. But just walk in the door with your pants down, and people are gonna be like, this guy's awesome, or he's terrible. I never want to see him again.
Yeah. And that's funny because I think the goal one of the side goals for this podcast was that we are constantly in these situations on set or here at the studio, and sometimes you put up these guards that you present maybe a false version of yourself or a version of yourself that is better an Instagram version and not the real raw who you are as a person with flaws, and that to me was just not like I want to hear people's flaws and have them sit down and expose themselves on here. It's a good analogy.
That's what makes us human, though. Like if we were all perfect, it would be boring.
Yeah,
we would all just be perfect robots that are like, oh, everything is executed perfect. There'd be no stories. There would be no this one time, Frank was doing so and so. Like it's not like you tell stories like Frank did such a good job that he carried that box over there really well.
In a respectful manner.
Frank was so respectful on set that day.
No, but I think there's really something to. I think it helps us connect better to people.
A lot of us, I would say, do have a false persona online too, though. Like, that's a good.
Totally.
I really had a false persona of you.
Like you actually thought I was a nice person,
exactly.
But then you got to know me. And
no,
like,
but you were. It's like before we became friends, I saw Joe's work, and it was he's what you posted was what I saw, right? I didn't see the day in and day out of being here at the studio, struggling to build this, figuring out.
It's
all
a
these
weird
different...
dichotomy of. I don't know if dichotomy is the right word, but like you can.
It's a cool word.
This is We'll just
roll
throw it in
with
there.
it. Dichotomy, the dichotomy.
But I mean, this is probably a side tangent. But like the social media, like you don't have to see someone's stuff every day to make it seem like they're doing something all the time.
Exactly.
Like I may only see this person that I respect post something once a week or something. I'm like, man, this guy's always doing something.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's 4 other days in the week, or whatever the frequency is. It's like I think we build up this false perception in our mind of how other people are operating their lives through what we see on social media, when it's just there are a lot of hours where you're, in our instance, not on set. Like that's when I get paid the most usually, but that's the smallest amount of time of the work I actually put in.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I've always from the moment I met you, Frank, and I followed you on Instagram too. It's like you don't present really this false version of yourself, or maybe you do, but it's also it's
pretty cringe what I present.
Well, no,
but it's enveloped. It's enveloped in this like the raw part of who you actually are. On your Instagram, you'll share your bad days. You'll share stuff about your side businesses, your cats, your struggles, and that's something that I don't know. It can be, I think, hard for people to do, and you just put it out there without any sometimes.
Sorry, but yeah, I'll touch on that a bit if that's cool.
Yeah.
So putting yourself out there in terms of cringe content or the low light reels, because it's a highlight reel.
I like
it's
that.
not a low light reel on Instagram and Facebook, etc. So if you put a bit of the
what do you
low
mean by low light?
So low light is like the
unexciting part of my life.
Either unexciting or the terrible parts or the painful parts when you're going through some stuff.
Yeah.
And people kind of cringe at that. And people say, like, reach out for help. And then you do. And then they're like, it's crickets. Like you put it like a cry for help out on social media, and like you might get like 1 or 2 people like, Frank, I'm concerned about you. I wrote a song that was pretty dark, and I sent it to a few people, and then like I got serious messages from people like, Frank, are you okay? I'm like, the song is like a dark song or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But the point of the low light stuff, or I got to think of a better term for that.
I like that though.
I think
that's a good term.
Yeah, strikes a key.
It's
highlights, lowlights.
Yeah, I would like to see, like, on occasion, not social media feeds chock full of this low light stuff, but know that other people struggle. Other people are human. Other people, have days where
that's a good way. Like just showing that
just
you're
to feel
a human.
connected. Yeah, because the comparison.
This person is
thing,
not a god.
That's right.
Yeah. And that I've thought about that myself.
Bring him down a peg.
I've thought about posting a picture of me in my pajamas, which is maybe 20% of my work, sitting at my desk, editing or doing emails, whatever it is. But I just haven't been able to get myself to do it.
The cool thing, too, is if you do that and it resonates with some people, it's finding the right words at the right time that resonates with people. It's almost like you're a Facebook poet. I actually had a cartoon called The Facebook Poet. It was like the Count Chocula or Phantom of the Opera. Like, it with the mask and everything, and he's like got his symphony of stuff, and it's just a laptop in front of him, and he's like writing the world's greatest post on Facebook that will bring world peace.
Oh, interesting.
Which is my goal every time I make a Facebook post. I'm like, how can I affect everyone's life and make it better with this Facebook post? And it just like, I delete so many posts. It used to be a really bad time waster of mine. I would delete stuff before I even post it, or I would post stuff and delete it. So there's a lot of stuff you're not seeing that is really vulnerable of mine that doesn't get published.
Yeah.
I
think that vulnerability. Just the last comment on that. I think the vulnerability is something that we need more of. Because the moments that I have been more vulnerable with people are the ones that I've connected the most, and it allows them an opportunity to do the same, and it just builds better connections. In Vegas when we were at NAB, we had some really good conversations, and I feel like our friendship changed. Whatever happens in Vegas stays.
Me, and Luis. We
had a really good time just connecting.
Shout out Luis Hermosillo.
Yeah, and throughout other relationships, friendships, that's the same thing. And I think that I feel more connected to you. I think because of some of the things that you share that are more personal. But to bring it back, you've been in the Rockford area for 10 years that you've been working as a creative professional. So what got all this started? Because you do a lot of different things. You do music, you do art, you do video production. So can you just give me kind of a brief overview of how it all started for you?
That's right. I'll tell you how the sausage is made if you're ready for it. If you're ready for it. I don't know. I had an opener for that. We'll come back to just remember sausage, and that'll be your cold open for when you do a little teaser bump on the edit. So what got me started in video production was a curiosity about, let me restart. I got married. I wanted it filmed, and I hated my career. I hated my life. I still kind of hate my life, but that'll never go away. I just have to kind of love my life more than I hate it. But anyways, I got married, wanted a videographer. I reached out to this guy here. I begged him to film my wedding. He wouldn't do it because I was a cheapskate, and I had no idea how much money or work went into filming a wedding.
Wait, this was before you guys really knew each other?
Before we really knew each other,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, he had Bonza weddings, or I think it was just like Rockford video production, but it was still Bonza. Yeah. And like I looked at video production because I worked at CVS Pharmacy in the break room. They had a little TV, and I saw the local commercials, and I was dying laughing because they were so bad.
Yeah.
Like the production quality was so bad. And
not ones Josiah made.
Not
like a TV network.
Yeah. I was wanting to shift careers. I had hired a videographer. I was like, this dude makes a bunch of money. I could do that easily. So I reached out for like a kind of working internship. I told Josiah I would scrub his toilets, which I've yet to do. I thought he had a studio at the time. Right. And I'm like, hey, man, like, can I, like, work for free or something or scrub toilets? Like, just teach me. Like, I have to get out of this career. I want to do something creative. I'm an artist.
How long were you at CVS before that?
Ooh, a year or two.
Okay.
But before that, I was at Walgreens for about 15 years.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, really?
There's a good amount of time at Walgreens, yeah.
Okay.
And I got fired for yelling at a customer. And then I went across the street and worked at CVS. And then I hated my life. Like, they're so miserable there. And ironically, I met my wife at Walgreens, and now she works at CVS. And it's like this weird
full circle.
Yeah, full circle of pharmacy stuff. But it's not a very creative environment. So we got married. We moved out to Rockford because this district was hiring for Walgreens pharmacists. And it was either Rockford or Effingham or some place down south in the county seat that was like 6 hours away. So we're like 2 hours from Chicago or 6 hours. So picked Rockford. Glad we did. Reached out to Josiah. I'm like, film my wedding. He's like, no. And then we meet at Panera.
I need money.
We meet at Panera Bread. He's like, okay, I got this.
Is that where we met initially?
Yeah.
Like in person?
Yeah, we had lunch, and you were a gentleman. You went easy on me. You're like, what do you want? Leave me alone. Like, basically.
Well, I have to say, I mean,
I was
finish your story, but like, the reason, like, I think we ended up actually like collaborating on stuff eventually was just you were super persistent. I mean, like, The dude wouldn't take no for an answer.
Because you're the only game in town too. Like you're good at what you do. And I reached out to, I think, just Bonza. There was no one else doing like quality video production,
Pablo,
in my opinion. Yeah,
the time.
I did meet with Pablo. Pablo and I had coffee or something. That was good. He gave me a few pointers and stuff. He's like a lone wolf for the most part.
I think Lonnie was around back then too, but
I didn't meet Lonnie
Vixen
for a while. I didn't find Vixen. But anyways, I reached out to you at Bonzo. We had lunch, and I convinced you to let me on a shoot. It was kind of like a low expectations thing. Like I didn't really have to do anything. It was like the Orchard Ridge Farms video.
Oh, that was the first one?
Yeah.
We have photos of that.
Nice.
Don't we? Is that the one
so.
where we were out actually in the orchard and
had the apple orchard,
the cherry picker we were shooting from, and
we did a lot of stuff there. You did so much work for the Spantons and Mastercraft and Cat. And so anyway, walking down memory lane, I just kept doing video. I was like, this is cool. I'm making way more money eventually once I started making money.
Yeah.
Than the pharmacy. I liked it a lot more.
So you did both for a little bit, I assume?
Yeah, there was a little bit of overlap.
Yeah.
And I kept telling the people at the pharmacy, I'm like, you wait and see. I'm going to leave this job. I'm going to leave this job.
And how old were you at that point?
Man, 26, maybe younger. I'm 38 now, so something more than 10 years.
Okay.
So I'm 26. I had given up on the dreams to be a rock star or cartoonist because I just felt that those career paths were way too risky to make any money. And I saw the career path for a filmmaker, videographer, and started filming weddings. That was going okay. And then I got into gear acquisition syndrome. And if you're not familiar with that, it's an endless, vicious cycle. The gas. Add the gas really bad. I still kind of do. Just buying equipment like the next new camera, lighting, audio, microphones, and just spent all my money on stuff and not making any money. Mm-hmm. So somewhere along the lines, I think COVID hit, and the silver lining of COVID was a lot of people kind of found their passions. Like I know people that started blowing glass. Doing this or that. So like finding especially creative people that were kind of stuck in a rut.
It was like a time for rediscovery.
Yeah.
Rediscovering yourself, one could say.
Rediscovering, reinventing.
So deep.
I know.
Yeah. So I did some soul searching, realized like I got to make music. I got to do something with music. Not the most talented musician or songwriter, but
and you've always been into music, yeah?
Yeah, well actually no. It's ironic. So rewind like 30 years. So I'm 8 years old playing Nintendo, and I'm like, I'm not a creative person. I never thought I was, like, as a child. And I'm like, I suck, because I wanted to make my own video games at first. I think that was the first entrepreneurial thing. Like, I just wanted to make my own stuff. Like, I saw stuff, I'm like, this is cool. How can I make it better and make my own? And I'm like, I'm not creative. And then I'm like, why do people like music? Music is stupid. It's just words and sounds.
Says one of the most creative guys this side of the Mississippi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like God's way of punishing me with like, now thou shalt have endless ideas. And you'll be obsessed with making music to impact the world with my ideas through music. Last side tangent to that. The reason I think I tried art, film, and now back to music, music, art, and film, but back to music now because music is so powerful of a medium, and there was a stint with stand-up comedy. We won't go there. That was.
I'm kind of in that now, to be honest. I want to do some writing.
Yeah. Well, writing's one thing, but stand-up comedy is a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Trying to be a crowd pleaser. My mind goes elsewhere. Crowd pleaser. PG, Frank, PG.
Joe had very strict orders that this needs to be a PG.
So
PG show.
You said it would be a challenge to be PG. This might be the most challenge for myself. So,
but music.
Music. Yes, music. Thank you. You can impact people's lives and make memories that last forever through music, through the right lyric at the right time. I think there's a Beatles song that he wrote. One of the Beatles wrote about his mother having cancer, and some guy His mother had cancer, and like it connected, and now he's a music producer. Now he influences other people to like do great things. So it's like this chain reaction that you can really have a impactful career that impacts people's lives through music, and you only have to do it in 3 minutes versus making a feature film that's an hour, 2 hours, or which brings me to how the sausage is made. If you're ready for that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's hear it.
Okay,
Sausage.
So if you're familiar with Rick Rubin, the music, I don't know if he's a music guru or music producer, but I will say this is your cold intro. Rick Rubin is wrong. Hear that, Rick? Rick Rubin is wrong. There is no magic. There's only magical people. And if you're ready for it, I'll tell you how the sausage is made, because Rick talks about creativity and the creative mind and such. So this will hopefully help boost some stuff in the SEO with, so the name of it could be like Rick Rubin is wrong. But anyway, so how the sausage is made with creativity. Everything can be boiled down to mathematical formula. With Rick's teachings currently on YouTube, he's like really popular in podcasts. He's like, there's just magic out there. Like you pull from the magic and stuff, which is, I will agree to a certain degree, but I disagree, because like everything can be pretty much summed up in a mathematical formula. And creativity, to me, I was thinking about it in the shower today, pat myself on the back for coming up with such groundbreaking philosophy. But the sausage is made of creativity in a mathematical formula of obsession with curiosity equals creativity. So you need to be obsessed about curiosity. If you have a childlike wonder, like I do, most people don't have to worry about taking it to this extreme where it like literally drives you mad. But if you have curiosity and some degree of, what was it, obsession? That's what I said. You have to be obsessed about something. All the creative geniuses are.
Yeah, no, they are.
If you list any visionary, they're just gosh darn obsessed with something.
Just bonkers.
Just bonkers, right? They're eccentric in some way. I got to pull up my notes here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, creativity is something that's, with AI and everything, the introduction of it, and it's only going to get better and better. But the things that we are drawn to are not things that can be just summarized by a formula. Yes, AI will be able to repeat certain patterns, but the experiences that we've had and the things we've gone through and the way that we look at the world is that's very individual to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And that results in creativity. And I had a question about your different things that you do, art, video, and then music. I wonder, do you think that your interest kind of changes based on sort of the life stage you're in and kind of the mood? Yeah?
Yeah. The more I learn, the more I want to be efficient. Again, it loops back to the obsession about efficiency. That's a big pillar of foundation for my creativity. And you need guiding stars, and people are there's so many ideas. I had it in the shower. So what we need to do is set up the podcast in my shower.
Next time, the podcast
think so clearly in the shower. Like I poop you not. I poop you not. Like in the shower, I'm such a like genius where there's so many ideas, and it's
we
like
do have a shower here at the studio.
That's true.
We're in
do.
the production
that is true.
Support space. So
Should we just? You guys want to head over?
Yeah. Next one, we'll do it.
Shower podcast.
We'll light it just right.
Keep the electronics away from the water, please.
Close on, please.
Yeah, we'll like seal this off.
Actually,
in an underwater kit.
That's a good segue though into a question I had for you.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I instantly kind of knew about you is that you are full of ideas. You're a very creative person.
Very full of it.
Yes. So. I mean, how do you, like you just said, in the shower, you have your best moment, your best ideas and some of your deepest thoughts. And I know when I'm alone and it's, deep in my own thoughts, that's when a lot of that creativity comes out. So how do you think that process works for you in terms of being able to generate new ideas or come up with creative alternatives? Is there something that you do, or is it just come at random?
Absolutely. It does come at random to a certain degree because I've conditioned my mind to do so. But there's things that you can do if you feel you're not a creative enough person. So it's the mind is sort of like a muscle. So for example, I knew that this podcast was important to me. I knew I didn't really have the time or the attention span to sit down and like write out the way I wanted to. So what I do is the trick is similar to when people cram for a test. There's very smart people out there that cannot study, but they cram the night before a big test, and somehow they ace it or do very well compared to someone who's grinding and, again, obsessed about efficiency, right?
Yeah.
So if you feed your subconscious these formulas for success, I've never thought about it, but this is kind of the best way I can explain it. This isn't necessarily what I do, but I don't have the language to explain it, but this is the best I can do with the English language. So you train your idea box, which is your brain and your mind, and you set parameters like a radio that you're tuning into a certain frequency. So you're tuning your idea box with certain parameters and curiosity. So you're like, I wonder if I increase the whatever funk. My friends and I used to make music, and we had the funkometer. So whenever we were writing a song, we're like, you know what? Let's take the funk up another notch and see where it goes. So the funkometer was an imaginary knob where you would just turn it and the song would become funkier. So imagine your idea box where you just have these parameters.
I'm picturing like a Moog synthesizer.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's
you're patching different
bandwidth,
synthesizers. Exactly. That's very similar. That's a good analogy.
Nerds.
Nerds. Exactly. So you got your brain box or your idea machine. You set your parameters and you tune in the frequency and you kind of set it and forget it, like you're cooking a rotisserie chicken or something. So what I did subconsciously, and I tried to analyze this and dissect it. Last night I go to bed, and I try to take care of my brain box, not like binge eat. So that's why stuff like this is really healthy for me, because I'm like, I got something important to do that I'm excited about. I should not binge eat and like wake up with chronic diarrhea or this or that. So I take care of my body, because the body-brain connection is very important.
Yeah.
So you take care of your body in your brain box. Don't feed it poison. There's some people that like hallucinogens and etc. But I feel that's really, really risky business to get into the creative zone in a flow state.
There's other alternatives. I mean, I've heard a lot about that too. But I mean, just going to the gym clears your mind.
Yep.
And I find after I go to the gym, I come out so energized. Afterwards, and for some reason the ideas do start to come faster, and they have a different like unique twist on them. So
because you clear the mind. I'm glad you said that exact phrase, clear the mind, because I didn't think of that, but now that you mentioned that, that's exactly what I do. I go to bed, I clear the mind, or I take a nap. I sleep on it. That's why people say sleep on it. You clear the mind and you have a fresh palate, and you put your idea box in the oven before you clear the mind and rest. Then when you wake up, you're refreshed. I woke up at 6:23 this morning. I got out of bed, got in the shower at 6:25. Had an amazing idea session. It was so good this morning. I was like trying to I almost got out of the shower and just wrote stuff down.
You called me like before 8 o'clock, wasn't it? Maybe 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I was yelling. Well, I wasn't yelling, but I was like,
Frank?
I was like, hey, man, you're late. It's 8:02 and you're not at the studio. And for those who don't know, I have narcolepsy and I sleep late and I have permanent jet lag, and mornings are impossible for me. It's so hard to.
Why do you think what made this morning different?
I think the excitement, the novelty of doing a podcast. That's why I kind of need novelty in my life, and I need to try new things and have this curiosity that, again, works towards the most effective way to impact people's lives.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, podcast is a great way. Subconsciously, I didn't really think about that.
I did have a follow-up question about your shower sessions, though.
Yeah, they're great sessions.
Are you able to write off
tickets to
part of your water bill, like
the
as
water
a business
bill's pretty
expense?
I like
because I feel like that's pretty plausible. Like I have to spend 45 minutes
I never thought of
every
that.
morning in the shower.
It was 45 minutes. It was a 45-minute shower.
Somebody's
got to pay for that.
You're a very creative guy too, but your mind also works in a very
yin yang
type brain.
I would have never thought of that, but that's.
But maybe that can help circle back. That's such a corporate thing to say.
Circle back.
Let's circle back on this, gentleman. No, but Victor and I were talking about what are some of the common things we should be hitting on these podcasts, just to kind of
I think
keep
business.
them grounded.
I think have some fun, but like the
but
creative people, like how do we get more clients? How do we enjoy our satisfaction of our jobs better?
But I think so. Yeah, exactly. And something we landed on is that, what is it that what is the common denominator with like the type of people that are around the place, or like the freelancers and the people we work with, like our peers? I think it's that we are artists. We are largely creative people, creative thinkers, but we're also business entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
We don't like working for the man.
Yeah, but like it's a unique combination.
Yes.
So that's something we need to kind of balance these podcasts with, is like,
That's right.
We have all this incredible creative process that we would love to talk about all day. How do we
Let's switch gears.
How do we marry that with the other side of like, well, we have to be an entrepreneur at the same time?
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, I mean, I think
What's your secret sauce?
My secret sauce I'm still working on. It's kind of like a beta test sauce right now. Frank's sauce 1.0.
So it's got to be simmered for a certain
It's a
period
beta
of time.
sauce, yeah. So Frank's beta sauce is finding your tribe that you vibe with the most.
Ooh, that rhymes too.
Find your tribe that you vibe with. That's right. That's very like
tribe vibe.
that's very like chic Target girl type.
Yeah.
Like neon sign stuff. But anyway, it's so true.
It is.
You need to surround yourself with the right people at the right time in the right place, and you're going to set yourself up for success. So for me, it's impossible because my tribe is just crazy people. Like the people I vibe really well with you guys, but like my true like tribe is legitimately crazy people that are just borderline like, you don't want to do anything with these people.
How much time have you spent in the asylum? You're definitely on my list.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean by that, though?
People that take their obsessions too far, and like there's almost like there's always some kind of.
Can you give us a YouTuber
damage.
example? Surely there's a YouTuber example.
YouTuber example. You mean
like maybe this is a bad illustration.
Okay.
That immediately came to mind, like just some YouTuber who does just crazy stuff. Like you probably connect with like a certain type of channel, maybe.
So
Maybe not. Maybe this is completely irrelevant.
Trying to think of
Victor,
a good
you
way
asked
to explain
questions.
it. Trying to think of a good way to explain it without like calling people out, not calling them out, but like they would know that I was talking about them specifically.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm just trying
like
to
they
think,
wear
like,
their hearts to their chest.
Oh,
Very
so you're
close.
talking about like people who
like relationships, like
this isn't like
friends.
someone you don't know. This is like
These
that
are
you
people
follow.
that I've grown close with.
Gotcha,
That
okay.
like I've ruined.
Okay, no, I didn't mean to
burned the
put you
bridge.
in that situation.
Oh,
I was
gotcha.
picturing like a stereotypical like I don't know.
Okay.
yeah.
So my
Disregard.
tribe, my tribe's very difficult. That's part of my life journey, and hopefully I can help people find their tribes through some of the content I will put out. But finding your tribe is so important because where was I going with this? Damn it.
Find your
Yeah,
tribe.
I that's something that I've recently.
People compliment you. Just like a relationship, they'll push you to like a good gym partner. They'll spot you just right. Or if someone's showing you the proper technique to do something,
Yeah.
your business coaches, your life coaches, your pastors, whoever you look up to in life, they're showing you proper form to do an exercise. They're showing you proper form to live your life like a good person, like a good human.
Yeah.
To have those life skills.
So they compliment you.
They compliment you.
and-
They push you.
and this idea of like you become like the people that you're around.
Yeah, your 5 closest people, you're like the average of.
Mhm.
Unless you hang out with a bunch of cats. And I just stare into the void. And then I knock things off the table.
I was gonna say.
For those who don't know,
Yeah.
Frank also has a cat rescue.
I'm a cat rancher, yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
cat
that's
rancher. Wow, I like
a
that.
cat rancher. I smell like cats.
You just
and-
bought a farm that we did a music video shoot on.
Yeah, we bought a farm. 2 years before that, we bought another farm that didn't really work out. We're in the process of selling that. But to bring it back, no pun intended, like your guiding stars, like the people that you surround yourself with, are almost like constellations on a map. In the old days when the Vikings or whoever would sail ships,
Mm-hmm.
you need those guiding stars, right?
Yeah.
So people in your life will guide you. They'll inspire you, influence you. You don't live in a vacuum. We're not robots. That's part of the beauty and the poetry of life, where you kind of like put a bunch of people on Earth, put them in a like shaker, shake it up and see what happens. And when you have creative, ambitious, obsessed people involved with that, I think business people are obsessed to a certain degree, but they're obsessed with, and they have a curiosity about business.
Mm-hmm.
but the way they go about it is I don't know. That's the one thing that boxes me. Like the business mind, like people that can like wake up every day, do the same like boring stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that if it's leading towards a greater goal. You need these people.
Yeah.
Society would fall apart with
absolutely. If it was all us.
Hardworking. Yeah, we would just trying to keep it PG. I was gonna say we would all be doing X, Y, and Z all day, but so I look at life like I'll just kind of run through my stuff and then if you want to jump in or go back to your question. So life is like a buffet to me, and you kind of mix and mash stuff. And the creative formula is just taking bits and pieces, adjusting your parameters, and having a philosophy and guiding force in anything you do. And then you'll have creativity or boost your creativity if you intentionally work at that, if you don't feel like it's strong enough. For example, as a wedding filmmaker, my key to success, if you couldn't call it success, but like people look up to me as a wedding filmmaker, there was a blog I came across called Every Frame a Painting. And I thought that was so beautiful and on point with my brand. And I just go about any visuals I try to make beautiful. I try to make it as if it were a painting. Like if you froze this frame of video and printed it and put it on the wall, is it wall worthy, like wall art? And that was my guiding force. Yeah. And that's all I do. And like, I've made so many mistakes, and like, hopefully no one's watching this that would hire me as a videographer, but I've made like the worst mistakes possible over and over and over in different ways or capacities. But like, I could still have a very, very successful wedding brand if I could like focus and like do the same boring stuff every day, which is what my coaches and mentors have told me. But they're like, but that's my guiding.
Just to reinforce, Frank does great work. Like,
I do great work, and that means a lot coming from him.
Yeah. You visually, that's what I do too. I focus on trying to make the best visuals, and sometimes the story is the one that kind of gets to be put on second when it should be first. But you also are a great editor. That's the thing that I've always admired about your work is your edits always seem just seamless.
Thanks. I thought they could use some work, but thank you. I'll take it.
No, I mean that's what I've been working on that a lot myself. But
can we take a quick pause?
Yeah.
We don't have an engineer in the booth today, and looking at the program monitor, something's flashing that I don't.
Yeah, go
usually see flashing.
Let's take a 10-1 as well. I got a 10-1.
Yeah, get some.
We'll come back.
Right.
Our regular
We're back.
engineer, Mr. Francisco, went in for back surgery on Monday. So
sending good vibes to you, Kiko.
We wish him well.
It did go well.
Yeah,
from what I hear,
and he's recovering good.
And he's recovering, but was not not quite ready to come in and operate the booth yet. So Victor's gonna have to cut this one in post, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wanted to jump back to the topic of finding your tribe.
Finding your tribe.
I think that's an important thing you touched on because I think. One of the first podcasts that Joe and I did together, we talked about how City Stage has become a place for people to be, to have a tribe, that kind of a center point in our community for the creatives here. And how have you sought out your tribe? I mean, is this something that's just happened naturally, or have you actually gone out of your way to seek it out?
That's definitely both. So it's natural that it's happened, but I was very persistent and intentional about it, you could say. So the natural component of that answer is I was not cognizant of that at the time. I was just, I don't know. But anyway, so Johnny Businessman, it was an ad that Bonza, Josiah's production company, produced years ago, over a decade now.
Yeah, I mean, a long time ago.
A long enough time ago.
Yeah, very long time.
So I saw that, and immediately I knew, like, this guy gets it. I looked for the right production company or video producer or whoever to reach out to learn from. I saw that. I'm like, I want to learn from this guy. I'm going to. I made it happen just because I was persistent, I guess, or annoying enough to. And then so we could roll the Johnny Businessman ad if you want.
All right,
you're asking a lot for post-production.
This is very
here.
Embarrassing, but
it's still good. It still holds up.
Yeah, no, we did. I just referenced it the other day for some reason. I don't remember.
It still holds up. It's good.
But
shot on the GH2 or something.
Oh, the dentist.
No, it's the one with. Maybe I didn't show you.
It has a bunny rabbit.
I don't think you did.
Fireplace and a bunny rabbit.
No. I
Okay.
haven't
Well,
seen it.
we're gonna roll the tape.
Roll the
We're
tape.
just gonna see this at a later point, but essentially, you want me to just put it on the screen quick? We have the ability to do this.
No, I can just put it on
We'll
later.
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't remember it well enough to comment on it, I guess.
But
We
what
don't
about
need
what
to.
about it stuck out to you?
So the quality stuck out to me, the humor, the timing, the pacing, like production wise, everything, and the concept and the philosophy behind quality is the difference. The slogan for Bonza, and I'm like, okay, this guy gets it, like, and I just kind of like had this gut instinct, and I have a very good gut instinct about people that are going to be part of my tribe or like are close enough to that, like, oh, I could work with that, or I take a gamble on someone based on their personality or interactions that I have. But my intuition's been pretty damn well over the year. It's just like I make so many mistakes, like in my decisions and my actions, that it'll burn bridges. Like I'll lose accountability or credibility or abilities, etc. in relationships, and that, I think, it kind of leads into the next topic of my weakness. But finding your tribe, my best advice, I guess you could say, is like just be, shoot, I'll have to think about that. Maybe we'll have to circle back to it if I was to actually give unsolicited advice for people finding their tribes.
Well, I guess not even necessarily advice, but how have you formed the people that you would consider a part of your tribe?
Another situation, I was talking with someone about like game theory. It's kind of like dating sometimes, especially when you get in the upper echelon of industries where there's like someone very successful that you look up to, that you want to connect with. Like you have to, I don't want to say you have to, but if you offer some type of value to them, even if that value is just friendship, in the potential, like they have to see that you're not just wanting to further your career by befriending this person. So one situation, this guy I looked up to in the industry, he was kind of a party animal, and I created this buzz about a party that I was throwing, like an after party it was during this filmmaker's workshop, and I intentionally did not go up to the guy, and I created buzz. me and another guy that was lower level demon in the industry. We concocted a plan, or I did, and kind of convinced him to go along with it.
He helped execute.
He helped execute it. Yeah. So
You're the mastermind of the crime.
after the workshop excursion, I had gotten this party together, a karaoke party, and rented a party bus. Keep that on the down low. and I was asking people at the event, hey, are you going to the after party? You going to the after? And I got this other guy to do it as well. And then like the dude I was looking up to like came to me. I was summoned by his henchmen. They're like, hey, yo, so-and-so wants to talk to you. I was like, oh, really? Because I created buzz.
My plans were.
I felt like such a devious mastermind, so manipulative.
Yeah.
But it worked. But like when someone's out of your league, you kind of have to do stuff like that. Like I'm not saying be like sneaky or manipulative like that, but like when someone's out of your league, you got to do something to impress them. Like really, or you got to be willing to put in some type of work or some effort that shows
I like
you
what
care.
you said. Like you were drumming up buzz about it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing devious about that. It's
Yeah,
just like
and it was like take it or leave it. I wasn't like, it wasn't just about connecting with it. I genuinely wanted to throw this party for myself for my birthday with like karaoke on the town on a party bus, because I never get to enjoy a party bus, being behind the camera on these party buses usually. So we created the buzz and we bonded. We became like really good friends, really close. Then I wind up burning the bridge like I normally do, and then it really blew up badly that I can't comment on. But that's where I mentioned earlier, I think about like the people that are my tribes. Like we're such passionate people that are so, I don't want to say insane. Maybe the better word is obsessed about like doing our best work, that we will like fight to the bone, fight to the teeth, fight to the death, to like do our best work in life.
Fight to the,
I don't know.
like that,
There's some saying that will kind of showcase the obsession about
tooth and nail.
Fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, tooth, nail. Gotta cut these nails.
But it's
my
almost
tribe
this
is
idea
people
of,
obsessed with doing their best work, and that's where like the tribe Like I just
the concept of like anything for the shot.
Yeah.
Or anything for the gram, or whatever that
whatever that
it's
going all out.
It's
so like
this is what we're creating.
That's right. So whatever that is to you, whatever it's like so important to you, that's your tribe. You worship is not the right word. It's although that can like if you're the very devout religious person, that could be your tribe. That's in the religious sense, but like whatever you're, I don't want to say willing to die for, but like close to that. I'm not willing to die for my wedding films, but I'll go
your
pretty damn far.
Passion,
your highest passion, yeah. Like, what are you willing to go
driving
the extra mile
force?
for? Your driving force. Like, what ignites you? What fires you up? And you just get around people that fire you up, and you get fired up about the same stuff, and that's it. That's your tribe. It's pretty simple. Once you meet enough people, if you're cognizant of personalities and your own personality and tendencies, you get this intuition where you just like meet a person, talk to them for a minute, and you can sum them up and be like, okay, I'll put them in the maybe pile. Or like, nope, never want to see this person again. Especially as you get older, you get more selective and critical. So it's just, again, setting parameters in your brain box. Like, okay, this person has to have this amount of funkiness about this amount of quirkiness about their personality. Like these are the ranges that I'm looking for in a new person to bring into my life. And if they don't really fall into that parameters, I take a risk every once in a while just so I don't hang out with the same exact type of people over and over.
Yeah.
So if you were to look at Victor here.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's 3 piles. There's maybe, there's heck no, and there's a hot prospect. Like
what stood about when I first met Victor, I was like, this guy's handsome and buff. And I want to be that. So that was the first thing, literally. Like, that's what I thought. Like no sexual thing. But I wanted to say something else, but it's PG. But I don't know if that's even PG. But no, like, I don't have enough, like, bodybuilder type friends that are like gym bros. Like, I don't think you're a gym bro per se, but, like, you're the closest thing to a gym bro that I hang out with, maybe Kiko. But Kiko and I have talked about lifting or going to but anyway.
Yeah.
That stood out. I'm like, okay, like this guy seems cool. He obviously
fit,
takes care of his body.
Also in production.
And then I look at myself and I'm like, I look like a slob. Like maybe if I start hanging out with Victor, I'll kind of look a
some
little
of
bit
that'll
better.
rub off.
Yeah, like the hot girls at school. Like all the hot girls like hang out with each other. Like if they take a Uggo under their wing, like the Uggo starts to become hotter. It's just like nature. It's nature. It's a horrible expression, but it's true. Like if you've ever witnessed this in a social setting, like they start getting their hair done, doing stuff.
Yeah.
And same thing with dudes.
You become like the people you're around. You spend the most
exactly.
time with.
It's true.
Yeah.
I heard
to a lot of different.
I heard a saying probably about a year ago, and it resonated with me. And it's a very simple statement, but for some reason, something where you hear it and you know it in your brain, but it takes something different to kind of translate it to maybe the heart or, to actually fully understand what it means. It takes just a little bit of a different thought approach, I guess. And the saying was that in order to make a friend, you have to be a friend. And for some reason, it's a very simple statement, but that really stood out to me. And I thought, I meet people all the time through, being in production or whatever it is, just passing. But it's like nothing comes of it. Well, nothing comes of it because I don't make, I don't do anything about it. I don't be a friend to them first, so they don't have an opportunity to be the friend. So I think that's one of the important things in finding your tribe is that the people that you do resonate with, the people that you think, are in that pile of, what did you call it? The maybes pile or the yes, heck knows. Like, what are you doing in order to start that, friendship or that relationship? So I for some reason, that really stuck out to me. And I know it's such a simple phrase, but once you actually think about it deeper and do something about it, I think it changes a lot. And I know it has for me in the last couple of years. I think it might have been a couple of years ago I heard it, but no, that's such an important thing. And Joe and I discuss it, and we talked about it on the first podcast, is just that finding your tribe and the people that will inspire you to do the hard things and inspire you to be a better person, not necessarily just in business or just as a creative, but just grow you as a person as well. And the City Stage, I think, is that place, man. I really do.
Yeah.
There's so many awesome people here, and for me, it's been it's just been one of those places where, like, this is my tribe. These are my people.
But it's not for everybody, and I say that with all good intentions, because I think for City Stage to fully blossom into the full flower lotus that it can be, you have to have the people that are ready for that kind of growth, because one bad seed or apple can spoil a bunch or whatever. If you have someone that brings in negative energy, that's one of the reasons I resigned from City Stage, or like pulled back. Like, my life was very chaotic, and it still kind of is. There's some Beyonce for you.
We're good on copyright, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it falls under the
Get flagged.
I think it's only
flagged then, and it's just done.
Yeah.
It's just done now. Where was I? I was the flower. Okay, so City Stage. It's a good place for people to grow and push each other, but they have to be ready for that growth. And if they're not, if they bring some toxic energy to the place, then it'll kind of start to sink the ship. Of culture.
But on the opposing end of that thought is that the people that are sound in who they are and sound in their business and good people, hopefully they will
rise them up
instead of bring everybody else down. And I think that is the case. You know, you do need people that are sound in who they are, what they do.
Back to what you're saying about kind of the common goal, the common passions, you know, as a big common direction, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. So if everyone comes to City Stage with a growth mindset, I think that's ultimately going to be so much more valuable than co-working space. It's you can grow as a person if you put yourself out there and be a little bit vulnerable. And what I wanted to touch on to make life easier for you, you said something about like you may struggle with like being a friend before or whatever you said. I wanted to touch on that with
to make a friend, you have to be a friend.
Yeah. So to touch on that, the takeaway for you could be to be interesting, you have to be interested in people. So, and that goes both ways. Genuinely. Yeah. So if you start asking people about their lives and they don't open up to you, like, okay, then maybe they're not ready for some type of friendship or relationship. And it goes vice versa. Like if you kind of put yourself out there and you notice people aren't like interested in what you have to offer or say, then that's not your tribe. It's just a very mathematical way to approach that.
Yeah.
And then once you do find your tribe, hold on to them and cherish them. Show gratitude to those people. Say nice things. Josiah and I have man moments where we don't man cry per se, but it's like we look into each other's eyes and we just
deeply
know. We just know stuff. Like if we're going through stuff, you're like, hey man, like you kind of having an off day. Like what's going on?
Just being real with people.
Yeah,
and being genuine. But you know that idea of like, here I'm adjusting the thing I said we shouldn't be adjusting during the show. That idea of to make a friend, you have to be a friend. I think a lot of that comes down to just being genuine with people too. Like people, like 100%. If they can smell if you're
they can sense your
he's really just trying to show interest in what I'm doing because he wants something from me. Like that's a very icky feeling versus
feel dirty.
Like I genuinely am interested in what you're doing. Like that's very cool. I respect what you're doing and whatever it happens to be, and you have to believe it.
Yeah,
you have to.
We're in the, I said, we were talking a while ago, and I said, we're in the business of sometimes putting out BS for marketing.
I only heard part of that.
And so we can smell it a mile away because we're used to creating
We help businesses make their BS more palatable.
Exactly.
And it can be a grind. It can be a grind for sure. But to make that like palatable in a workplace and culture, when you surround yourself with a good crew and good people, at the end of the day, in terms of putting food on the table, like it's very bearable, and you tend to not care really what the content is you're producing as long as it's not hurting people. and you just enjoy working with your friends. And I just approach life as this game to play where if I'm going to be working the majority of my life, like I want to enjoy it to some degree. I want to work with my friends. Like I just like see the world through that lens. Like, why wouldn't you work with your friends? And if you're stuck with a situation, make friends with the people you work with. And if the job really does suck, like move on to the next level. Like don't stay stagnant. Like that's why I had to make that change and getting out of retail pharmacy and the W-2 world to freelance and whatnot. But there's a whole like maybe other episode I could talk about, like being easy to work with and a lot of stuff that I need to like take my
like
own
how
advice
to
on.
be a good freelancer and keep getting jobs. Sort of idea,
if people are interested in that, I have a lot of insight on that.
But I think it's a lot of it's based off of who you are as a person, and that's why business ownership is not just about the product that you produce or what you do. It's about the type of person you are and the type of person you're becoming. Because if you're someone who's easy to get along with, fun to work with, and does your job well, there's no downside, right? But unfortunately, that's not the case all the time. So that's such an important factor. But I know we have to wrap up. There's other things I'd love to talk about, but we're short on time.
I have to have you back on the show.
Come back.
Actually, for closing, so you're focusing on music right now.
Yes.
And we just did a project with you for you on your kind of next step in what you're doing. So do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Good question. It's still kind of a blurry picture.
Yeah.
In the visionary sense of like this vision is not crystal clear yet. And as soon as it is, I'm hoping that it's just going to blow up in a good way. And that will be like, it'll just be good for everyone.
Come back on the show and plug it at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. My philosophy has always been like, get rich and bring your friends with and they get rich. And then we can all be rich and on boats with plenty of money and pet cheetahs. I don't know, whatever your fancy is.
That sounds nice.
Like it's not about greed or materialism. It's about a bit about like freedom, inspiration, changing the world, make the world a better place, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But impact, and to do so, you need money. You really do need money to do a lot of good in the world the way it's structured.
Yeah.
So that's a big obstacle with the YouTube channel. We'll just call it my project, the YouTube channel for now that I'm facing. So that's the next nut to crack. Hopefully I can.
Yeah.
And then I'll be more than happy to share that knowledge with people.
But you're also passionate about teaching people. And also, I guess, where do you hope to take that along with your music? What kind of content do you want to produce? And like, what?
Good question. Good question. I love the spark of passion, the fire in people's eyes once I teach them something and they're like, oh, I get it. And then they go out and do that thing. Like I forced my friends to form a band in high school. I'm like, you play bass, you play drums, you're the singer. And I was persistent about that. And then like they love it because I just like innately saw these characteristics that I'm like, okay, that guy's a bass player. But I want to spread that joy on a mass scale. And I think that'll fill my heart up with joy. And I really don't know why, like I'm obsessed with that. Like just inspiring and entertaining people. That's my beacon for living my life.
Yeah.
Just as well you're in show business. Right?
It's all show business. Show business, baby. So
But yeah, I've just noticed that's a big part of you is you love to teach. You love to give those nuggets of information and
I love the
tips
nuggets,
and tricks and
nuggets of wisdom, philosophy. I would be a philosopher if I could. I just don't know how you monetize philosophizing. Like, how do you go about there and sit on a rock like the thinker, and people just transcribe what you're thinking? Like, how did that guy get by? Like, where they're just like, this guy's really good at thinking. Let's like make him breakfast every day and like wash his laundry. Like, no, that's not the way it works. So I have to figure out how to become a businessman of some type, or like surround myself with people that can take my ideas, run with them a little bit, and then make a boatload of cash to carry out some of these cool things like Drum Dojo. Drum Dojo is going to be such a cool thing. Maybe we could do an episode on that where I kind of go into detail with it and see if anyone wants to invest in it. And that could be use up the room at City Stage. Raise enough money for that. That would be super cool.
Yeah.
That's a goal.
The last unfinished space. Yeah.
Last unfinished space.
Yeah. Well, brother, you are very creative.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how all these ideas and passions and thoughts kind of all come together. I know you're working on some cool things and exciting things. I hope that that goes well for you, and we're here to support you in the future as well. With that project in particular, but I really look forward to seeing how it all comes out. I think there's definitely a lot of potential, and just stick with it and see what comes of it. So thanks so much for jumping on here with us. We'd love to have you back sometime soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, guys. I hope you got something out of it. Just remember to follow us on YouTube at City Stage Studios. Is that correct? Is that our YouTube?
Yeah. The
podcast
is on.
Podcast
it has its
is
own
on
channel
there.
on there. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
And then also on Instagram at the City Stage Podcast. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.